The Botcast. What was impossible is now possible. Don't resist it, embrace it.
Okay, welcome everybody back to the Botcast podcast. My name is Dr. Andrew Timms. I'm one of the hosts of the podcast, but the brains behind this operation is really Daniel Lyon. Welcome, Daniel.
Hi, Andrew. How you doing?
Awesome, buddy. Awesome. So today, we've covered what is a bot. We've covered the power of the bot. People are hungry to know more. And this episode, we're going to be covering how you can actually build a bot and some different programs and platforms that you can go on, jump on and try and work things out for yourself. And maybe let's touch on that first, Daniel. Is what sort of different platforms are there out there that people can utilize as third parties to do this?
Yeah, look, now since Facebook, it used to be back in the day where you had to use the Facebook developer tools, and of course you still can do that and build it right natively inside Facebook. Pros to that are the fact that it's managed and built by Facebook, so it works, it works straight up. Cons are, unless you've done programming as a skill, whether it be professionally or whether it's been through doing IT or information technology through university or done some form of thing, you're going to have trouble using the Facebook developer tools and understanding how to do that. And so Facebook did open up their code base to be allowing third-party applications for that. And there are a lot on the market, and you can really do well using any one of them. But as with all things, you often need more than just that platform. And so some of them, you've got things like Chatfuel, you've got ManyChat, you've got FlowXO, you've got Bot AI, you've got the list goes on, just like it does for website builders, just like it does for operating systems and softwares. So they've all got their different advantages and disadvantages. Some of them are free, some of them cost, some of them have different level plans where it includes different levels of sufficiency. The biggest con with most of them is the fact that even though they often use a drag and drop editor, and that's something that I would certainly look at, ManyChat probably has the best drag and drop editor. However, at the same time, ManyChat probably has the most confusing system to try and work with. And then you'll get other ones where API.ai, which is what I recommend, API.ai was built by Google, owned by Google. And Wit.ai was built and owned by Facebook. Now, these two are the NLP programs that we would refer to being the natural language, and that is where your bot learns. So if you were to ask the bot, do you have this? If it was a simple keyword, the bot would look at that keyword, and if you didn't put the exact right keyword without any spelling mistakes, written exactly the way you put it in the bot won't know how to answer. So that's where NLP comes in, where you might spell it with a spelling mistake, or you might say it wrong, or, thanks to iPhone and the autocorrect, you end up putting in the right word, but it changes it on you, and your bot messes up. So that's where NLP comes in handy. And API.ai, which was built and managed by Google, is definitely by far the most advanced NLP system out there. And so that is what we use and utilize, is the API network. Now, that's fantastic. However, then the default downside to that is, again, it's even more complex to use than the Facebook developer tools. So it's one of those things where by using something simple like FlowXO or Chatfuel or ManyChat, you can build a basic bot. And there's definitely been some fantastic bots built where it was just a very simple basic bot. Didn't have much in it, but it served the purpose, and that was all they needed. However, to build a marketing bot where you've got multiple endpoints, where you've got funnels, where you want to lead your customer down, perhaps you want e-commerce built into it, perhaps you want to be able to sell through it or remarket through it, that's where then it does get tricky, and you can't rely on just one platform. You're going to have to use the API capabilities to interact with other platforms, potentially 2 or 3, so that you can get the best of both worlds across all of them, just like you would when you get a new iPhone. It already comes with your pre-installed apps, but you go to the App Store and then download the extra ones that you want, that you use, that someone else may not need to use.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I found, and that's why we created a partnership. Is I've delved. I know a fair bit about the online world, probably more than the average person. I've built my own websites and delved into it myself for a little while. But when I jumped on and started to create my own bots for my own company, I could only go so far.
Right.
And you could see, and I knew that there was different plugins and utilizations that you could use to make this really a superpower. But to go from like the basic to the the professional looking bot that's going to really be powerful, I needed help with someone who really knew the online space. And that's what it really came down to, and that's why we created that the partnership. And so, going a bit more into that is when you're talking about the AI, like when you got some basic platforms, those basic platforms do have some AI you can put in yourself, but there's a different level when you do the self AI compared to the NLP.
Correct. That's it. And like Andrew said, he needed help, so he's got me until he can find someone that's good enough to help. So at least that's what one of my old bosses used to tell me at times. He's like, yep, I needed great help, and, well, you're just going to have to do till I get someone that's great help.
Awesome.
Confidence booster, but you are correct. Right. That's it. With the AI, there is the simple aspects to it, and if you are having trouble with that, perhaps you use something like Chatflow or ManyChat, and you do build in your AI. One of the key things and one of the key differences between using something like API and with AI through the JSON API plugin is that it's going to learn and develop as it goes, and it's going to get better and more advanced. Whereas with the other, if you just go the simple route, it's doable. It's just that it's going to be 10 times the amount of work for you, because when the bot can't answer the question, when the bot doesn't know what to do, it involves you as the user to go back into it consistently and update it. I didn't think of that word. I didn't think of that phrase. I didn't think of that. Now that the customer's given me the wrong one, we can then add more into the AI, and so it's a constant growing process. So it really does come down to, it is possible, it is doable. It's just time versus money, work versus effort, all of those kind of factors coming into it as to, do you keep manually doing it because you don't have that skill set to be able to integrate it with the better operating systems, or do you get someone to do that for you, or do you just manage it by manually doing it?
Yeah, exactly, and that's where it's time for money. And $150 a month, I tell you, was well spent. Like when I was building my initial bot, God, how much time did we spend on it, man? Like hundreds of hours,
right?
And just to create my own bot, man, like a whole year's worth of Chatflow, I would have spent in the first week, few days of just trying to build my own bot.
Right.
Yeah, so it's fun to get on there and have a play and all that type of stuff. But there is, as we're trying to say, a big difference between a bot. And the thing is, you don't want to have your people getting the default message too many times.
No, correct. That's it.
You don't want your people who are jumping on there to your bot to not be able to get the answers they want to, because one, they're not going to be quite as satisfied, but two, they're not going to have a great experience, which means, and one of the power of the bot is if they do have a great experience, they're happy to share it with their friends. And when they're happy to share it with their friends, when we were talking about the power of the bot, where every person who ever touches your bot, you now have direct access to, imagine that word of mouth spread where people think what you have is pretty cool for your business and they share it with their friends and say, check this out. They're not only sharing it with their friends to check it out, they're actually creating them to you now have direct access to them because they've jumped on your bot. That is a superpower when it comes into the word of mouth marketing. Is the greatest power of marketing we can have. But most of the times in our word of mouth marketing, we have no idea, we've got no information, we get no anything about any person that anyone has ever shared your business with. Now we do.
Exactly. And you're spot on there about the fact that, like, particularly because we are a social age, people share it. And I remember reading a stat in an infographic some time ago, and it was saying that only something like 13% of people would actually share your information if they find it helpful, and they would jump on their personal Facebook page or Twitter account or whatever and shout you out as such, or say, I just got great service from this company. You guys should check it out. But it was over 60% of people will share publicly on their Twitter or Facebook page if they have a bad experience with a particular company. They will jump on and they will say, just got this done, what losers, don't ever deal with them again, kind of thing. Like, it's so frustrating.
Human nature, you got to love it, don't you?
Exactly, it's human nature. So that's right. You do want to make sure it's great. And Andrew touched on that about having a system where if you don't have the NLP set up right, if you don't use a system properly where you're going to be able to deliver a triple plus, quadruple plus, however many pluses you can get, if you cannot deliver the best service possible with a bot, it's better to not have a bot, because you don't want to ruin your reputation online by giving them a substandard service. And so definitely one of the key things to that is setting up triggers and notifications that if they do get a default response, which is what we refer to as the bot not being able to answer the question, where the bot gets stumped. You ask something and the bot doesn't know the answer, and it's got to give what we would call the default answer of, oh, I'm sorry, I don't know that. You want to set up triggers where after maybe 3 or 4 times in the one conversation, if they get that the bot will automatically trigger an email through to you as an agent so that you can jump in there quickly and do that and say, sorry, I can't help, but I've notified a support team so that they can get on there and help.
Yep, absolutely. And so what we want to give everybody, we want to give a gift, and we want to thank everyone for, these early days, and it's only episode number 3. We want to appreciate and thank everyone for jumping on. And we want to give you a gift. And it's going to be in the show notes. We'll put the links of all those different third-party platforms that we mentioned. We'll put those in the links in the show notes. Over 60% of people are going to be on their mobile phone device when they're looking at this, so you can just click and you can open that up. But also, we're going to give you a link in the show notes. Maybe, Daniel, if you just touch on what we're going to be able to give these people.
Yeah, so what we've done is we've put together a guide called the Ultimate Bot Building Guide, and it's on how to build a bot. And what we touch on within that guide is different aspects like what style of bot you're going to have, whether it's FAQ, whether it's just informational. We go into conversational. It's really important that people don't feel like they're talking to a robot, but they're actually speaking to a person. So giving your bot persona, making sure that you do speak in a conversational way. And then, like what we said, having that trigger system set up. So what we've done is we've put together the code, because we realize, again, like what we talked about earlier, the cons of some of the programs where you might need to integrate through API. So we've put together an API script for you that you can set up so that if they get a default code, say 4 times, use this particular script, do a post. You want to do a post API, and it will send a trigger through on this. We've set that up to use SendGrid. All you've got to do is copy and paste it out of that guide. It's down in the special resources section of the guide, which is up to chapter 4, but a few pages long, gives you the benefits of a bot, how to build your bot, what to look at in doing your bot, and it's all in there. So as Andrew said, it'll be in the show notes. Click on that link. Of course, you'll be inside our bot to get it, and you can download it from there or read it inside that.
Yeah, awesome. So that's a huge resource, guys. That's it's unbelievably powerful to give people a great interaction. It's a really important code to be able to utilise. So we wanted to give that away and say thank you for jumping on and wanting to learn more and jumping on the podcast. So I'm hoping you guys are enjoying it. Hoping you guys are getting huge amounts out of it. Please, jump on, subscribe, rate, review the podcast. We'd greatly appreciate it, and share it with your friends. And that's it for episode number 3. We appreciate that. And thanks, Daniel. And we'll see everyone on episode number 4.
Fantastic. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for listening. If you value your life, you won't keep this a secret. Subscribe, rate, and review, or we will find you.